Falafel and welcome to our BCN News for this evening. Firstly, a man deported for committing domestic violence offences. An Indian national has been deported after committing a domestic violence offence. The man who breached the conditions of his contract here in Niue was deported last Friday.
Chief of Police Tony Edwards did not reveal the identity of the man, but only explained that he was a non-resident with no permanent residency status and he was sponsored.
This case was reported to just our normal general policing staff who treats any domestic violence case as per normal. So whilst the officers are dealing with the case, we sort of try and find out, what are ways that we can deal with it. So since he was a person that's just come onto Niue with no PR status, and it is rightfully so that that we don't tolerate with domestic violence to start off with, and also the best solution for us is to send him back of his country of origin.
Edwards says the family of two, wife and child, still remain on Niue, with their tenure here dependent on the sponsor and are now more safe. Domestic violence, Edwards reveal, is also an underlying issue in Niue.
We've had quite a few incidents involving domestic violence, and it's the same process that we've taken them through. So we've had incidents involving firearms. We've had incidents with just people doing what they normally do in a domestic violence matter. And I could, if I look at in the last 6 years, we've had quite a high number of those that we've dealt with, and that we've put them in custody. So that to me is an indication of that we don't tolerate domestic violence ever here in Niue. So domestic violence is not just about husband and wife, it's about anything that's to do with violence, whether it's husband, wife, or some family member. If there's violence in there, we will treat it the same that we've done with all the other matters that we've dealt with. So it's not always reported, but I can definitely say that it's an underlying issue for Niue, that domestic violence is happening here on Niue. So whether that's abuse, it's verbal abuse, social, just a lot of social behaviours that constitute domestic violence, bullying, all that kind of stuff comes under domestic violence.
He also revealed their anticipation for the upcoming Family Act, which will enable them greater powers to deal with such matters.
We just have the Niue Act at this present stage, so that's how we deal with domestic violence, whether it's assault, whether it's threatening, so that all comes under the Niue Act. I'll be very happy to see when the family bill goes past. That's where we've got a lot of our powers now to deal with domestic violence issues. And so once that bill is passed through Parliament, then I think we'll have pretty much a lot of weight behind us to deal with these matters. So, it's always to do with legislation, and if our legislation is weak, and then it'll be hard for us to actually do our jobs. But I'm happy at this moment, or at this time, that we've got the family bill just about there. So once that comes through, and then I think we'll have a lot of weight.
Concerns over gun control. Opposition Member of Parliament Honourable Terry Coe claims that Niue has a problem with gun control and the use of firearms, with lack of appropriate legislations and enforcement. Honourable Terry Coe's concerns is in light of the recent shooting incident which the High Court dealt with last month.
In March, Niue's High Court sentenced a man to 12 months of community work on firearms charges after a shotgun exchange which injured him and one other.
I think it was very sad that the judge had released them without taking the guns off them for a period of time, or maybe taken off for life. And also because the alcohol was involved, the people should be banned from going to clubhouses and that for a number of years. So it's quite a strong deterrent for people to think twice about when they're presenting guns to other people. Of course, we've got we've got another problem with the automatic guns and the pump action guns. You know, if they are used in a domestic dispute or that, then you know you can kill up to 7 people, because that's what the magazines hold. And so I think it's time we stop the automatics coming in. There's no need for it, and just allow the single barrel and the double barrel shotguns to come in. And it's a worldwide thing, so it's good. Also, the number of guns that people have registered to themselves, and some people have got 5 to 7 guns registered under their names, and that shouldn't be on. You should have 1 gun, and that's it per person.
Honourable Ko suggested reforms for more stringent measures to be in place.
We've got to cut down on the number of guns, and again make sure that the people who are given the license to purchase a gun or have a gun, that they should be checked out also. And that's, I'm not saying everyone's a mental case, but if people are disturbed and all that, then they shouldn't be getting guns. And you should only have 1 gun, and that gun should be registered every year. That's under the Act, even though they've got no bullets except for the pig pellets. You still got to register it. That's the law. Not to carry guns, loaded guns in the vehicles, because there is going to be an accident soon, because there's a lot more children around nowadays and travelling in those vehicles, trucks and that, and the guns are in there and they're loaded. I don't see a problem with the gun being in the vehicle, but as long as it's not loaded. And it should be open so people can see that it's no bullets in it.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Police is urging people to be mindful when using firearms after a violent shootout on the island last year. Police Chief Tony Edwards told Radio New Zealand the 12-gauge type of shotguns used in the shooting incident, which happened in June 2018, are the only guns allowed on Niue. However, he said the country's gun laws wouldn't be changing.
Concerns over the septic tanks program for the villages of Alofi South and Alofi Tokelau. Village council members and village representatives have expressed concern and frustration with the implementation of the septic tanks program under the Project Management Coordination Unit. The disappointment is regarding the lack of clarity as to who the proper authority is under PMCU to designating the septic tanks. Village members understand around 25 households or thereabouts across both Alofi South and Alofi North in total are to be allocated with 2 tanks per household. However, to this day, village members have noted some homes with just 1 and some with 2 tanks, and some of these homes are only having 1 or 2 members in the household. It was understood that the VC approval is what PMCU was also riding on. The understanding amongst village members are mixed, some believing the allocations of the number of tanks are according to the number of rooms per house, and some thinking it's according to the number of people per household. Nonetheless, one thing remains clear: it is unclear. When members of the village sought answers, the responses and actions of the PMCU have been inconsistent. BCN is seeking a response from the Project Management Coordination Unit with regards to this matter. And finally, the ECE Sports Day at Tuapa Village. Parents and onlookers were entertained with what would be considered as one of the most memorable annual events hosted by the Early Childhood Education of the Education Department. The Sports Day took place at the Tuapa Village Green. 5 teams took part in the official march, which followed with the usual formalities, opening speeches and the prayer by Elder Hale Ikitule and also the head of the Education Department, Director Bertha Tongahai. The races then began, first with the 10 to 20 metre infant races, followed by the 30 and 50 metre races. The overall champion boy for 2019 was awarded to Cristiano Siakimoto, and the overall champion girl was awarded to Destalin Tomailunga. Shiloh Pasisi won the traditional Olofua Niu race, and Rem Asanso taking out the Tasika Niu category. It's intended Vaiea will host next year's ECE Sports Day. And that's it for our news for this evening, Tuesday the 9th of April. Amanaki ke monuine po, Nonofwa.